video, I'm going to show you guys real quick the few small detailed parts you need to swap a JDM K24 into your Honda Civic. So a lot of people don't know that on the Japanese K24, the alternator mounting points are a lot different than the RSX Type S style mounting points. And the way we do our swaps in our cars, we don't need the power steering, so that takes away being able to mount the idler pulley to the bracket. And the reason being is because the bracketry on the Japanese water pump is just completely different from the American. Now, if you have a American TSX K24, you're in good shape. You don't have to switch none of this out. But if you have a Japanese K24, which is what is really common, it's the go-to engine that a lot of guys are going to. They're very affordable, and then on top of being affordable, they're very accessible. So just to share with you guys a few part numbers here, I went ahead and got our EP3 idler pulley mount and pulley. So the actual bracket, this is a part number here. You guys want to go ahead and screenshot that. It's this bracket here that bolts up to your tensioner pulley bracket. Now, your actual pulley itself, here's the part number. If you guys are going to need that, we'll need the bolt, the cover, and then the two bolts that go right in there, which are two different lengths. And I will share the part number here. And as you guys can see, that top part number is a cover. The second part number is the bolt that holds the pulley, and then the two are the ones that hold the actual bracket down. So another thing you need to do on your K24 when it's a Japanese K24, you're going to want to swap out your crank sensor. The K24 crank sensor is different from the K20, and they wire up differently. Instead of just swapping the wires like some of these guys are doing out there, it's more recommended to just swap it out real easily for your K20 crank sensor, which you can get off of any K series that's a K20. You will also need to swap out your passenger side mount bracket, and this is off of a 2-04 CRV, and you guys can get those easily on any of these shops that are doing K-swap parts. Most people already are informed that you got to swap out this mount. So real simple, it's just 3 bolts, and all it does is it changes the angle. So the water pump housing you guys want to use is from a RSX Type S, a K20Z3, from an American Accord, which I believe is from 03 all the way to 07. They are all the same, so you guys can actually use the tensioner pulley, the alternator, and the water pump housing all one piece. So only if you guys have a JDM K24. If you guys are American, you're good, but like I said, they're all interchangeable from those 3 cars, even the EP3 and base model RSX, if I didn't mention those. And that's pretty much all you need for a Japanese K24. Just sharing a little bit on those finer pieces you need for a Japanese K24, and pretty much everything, all the basic RSX Type S engine harness, your axles, your swap mounts depending on what chassis you're using. But the parts that I mentioned need to be changed if anyone that's going K24 is going to be using. So is a lot of people ask me, how did I get the 7-rib belt to work? And that is because I used the 51.25 inch belt from Napa, and the reason I'm able to use it is because I'm running the RRC crank pulley, which is a lot smaller than the RSX. So with the crank pulley being smaller and the belt being shorter, I did have to add that spacer there and there, and then also on this third bolt here. So all these are 14 millimeter nuts, and they go right through the 12. So with that particular monstrosity of setup, it allows you to run the 7 rib belt, and as you guys can see, I'm right in tension. So I've been asked this question about 1,000,000 times: how did I get the 7 rib belt to work? Yes, it's a little bit of work, just being that you have to get the RRC pulley, but I'm a big OEM type of guy, so I had to have the 7 rib belt. I didn't want the 6 rib belt like a lot of these guys are using. I just was going for the clean look and OEM, as you guys know. So comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think.